What up, everybody? It's your boy B-Rob, and I'm back for a new edition, the first edition of 2024 of the Random Ramblings with Rob podcast. Thank you for joining me on this second day of the new year. And I hadn't been here a while. I actually took somewhat of a pod vacation. You know, we keep doing the RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk on the daily. Well, not the daily, but, you know, the weekly live on Wednesdays and everything. So I've been keeping up with that. We just did our year in review for 2023. That's part of our Patreon exclusives, which you can be a part of for a mere $3 a month if you go to patreon.com/RBR Wrestling. And for $3, you can be a part of the exclusive Discord as well, which I think is well worth the price of admission. Nothing really been going on. Been doing a lot of working as per usual. With the holiday season, I don't think I've been here since Christmas, but you know, presents were given, presents were received. One of the things that I think I enjoyed the most out of all the presents that I got this year was a book entitled Wrestling with Pixels, the World Tour of Wrestling Games. For those of you who do not know, I am on a journey to collect every professional wrestling game that has been released for a home console. So I've been on this journey for a couple months now. And I'm now realizing, since I acquired this book, which covers 40 years of professional wrestling video games specifically. So from the first one in 1983 all the way up to here in 2024 now. I think the book stops. So let's see what the most current game is that it stops at. I have to flip through here. And I think the most modern game that they stop on, because they have all the 2Ks in here. So I got to get past that. And I'm flipping in real time. I think the last modern game that they come to is Fire Pro World, which came out in 2017. So this is where the book ends as far as physical media. But there's other things that goes beyond this, like the mobile games, and, you know, things that they released in the app stores, like on Xbox Arcade and PSN and stuff like that. So I'm not too much worried about the mobile games and the digital stuff, unless they have a physical version of those things. Like for the Engage, WWE came out with a game called Aftershock, specifically for that cellular gaming device. So it was an actual cartridge that went into a cellular phone. It was like a Game Boy or some shit, or a Nokia keyboard phone type thing, but it played video games and stuff. So I have that in my possession. And since acquiring this book, I've noticed that I got a lot of doubles, or I have the Japanese equivalent. So they release games in Japan under a different name than the same game that's released in the States. So for instance, in Japan, there's a wrestling game that I was trying to acquire called Muscle Bomber and whatnot. So that released in Japan under that name, but they released it again in the United States for Super Nintendo. And they call that game Saturday Night Slam Masters. So the difference between the two, one has copyrighted characters, the Japan version, which is the original version, and the Saturday Night Slam Masters is the American version that doesn't have the unique licensing for those characters. So they just have some off-brand different characters on the roster. So I've been scrolling through this book and discovering the double buys that I may have gotten and everything. And I've also discovered some ones that I can't even find on eBay because they're so rare, or the console is just, you know, they didn't have many copies of it. There was one game that I had in my sights that eluded my grasp, and that was Popeye 3, Russell Crazy. It was a game that was an arcade port to, I believe, the Atari or some crazy old system like that and whatnot, or the Commodore or some shit. But it was an arcade game that they made, and they made a port for it for the cartridge thing. So I had it in my cart, had it in my sights. It was a little higher than I wanted to pay for a video game, one single video game, that is. And it got away. It eluded my grasp, and it was never to be seen again. And there's some other ones on here that I can't find in my pro wrestling. Well, not specifically pro wrestling, but I have a app, Game Eye, that has an encyclopedia of all the games that they, I guess, have in their database. And some of the wrestling games that is in my book here, the physical book, is not listed in the game app, and it's not findable through my searches on eBay. So those are the games I'm just probably going to have to concede on, because, I don't know how to get a hold to them. So my mission, my goal for my collection has changed to trying to acquire every wrestling game released for our home console, to having the most complete pro wrestling game collection, physically, physical media and whatnot. So I'm fine with that title. I'm good with that. It was just a dream. It was a wish. It was a desire of mine to collect every pro wrestling video game. But, I'll do what I can do. But in the realm of video games and whatnot, I've been down this retro kick because of my small child, my young child. She has taken an interest to retro handhelds and other old school consoles. So I wanted to give her the full nostalgic experience. So I bought her a CRT TV, a tube TV, a big booty TV, a TV with a BBL. And I acquired one for the Lolo, because they have upped in price, because, that's how things are. The people that been collecting retro stuff for a while to, just had their run of the board, just get whatever the hell they want for the Lolo, because nobody wants these things. But with the pandemic and people finding new hobbies and, stuff like that, all the hobbyist things or the retro things have spiked in prices and whatnot. Things and parts that I could usually get for $5 and $10 respectively are now, 20 to 30 and whatnot. Usually when you get into some of these, mods or retro freaking, circuits and boards and all this stuff to put in your old handhelds or consoles to make them work like new, or kind of modernize them, those parts and add-ons cost more than what you pay for the handheld in most cases or whatever. And I ain't really down with that. I hate you motherfuckers for spiking my prices and shit. Supply and demand. I know it's the way of the world, but I don't like it. But I got young child a big booty TV. I put it up in her room. It was a bitch to get up there. And I built a hasty entertainment system to house said big booty TV with her modern TV. So it's a nice little setup. And she's been playing Nintendo 64, PlayStation 2, freaking Xbox 360, which I don't think the 360 is hooked up to the old school TV. But, I'm just naming off the consoles that she has. A Wii and a Nintendo Switch. So those are all the gaming consoles that she has in her room. The 64, the PS2, and I believe the Wii are all connected to the old school big booty TV. All the modern things that have HDMI ports and everything, is hooked to her new TV. So she's excited about it. She's been playing on the Nintendo 64 some Japanese Bomberman and some other things like that. So she might be trying to go work with Dave and everything and replay games and try to earn her some new Nintendo 64 games. But I stay on with the quest of my own retro shenanigans. I have a Japanese PS2 here. And I bought an old school LCD screen game, a baseball game that I had when I was a child. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I also got a Funko Pop from One Piece. It's a Chopper, Tony Chopper. And I'm delighted to have it. You can see pictures of it all on my Instagram, which you can follow me on IG at the 3R Show. And then, yeah, that's about it. Just enjoying things. I went to the last live show for New Texas Pro Wrestling. Brian Keefe was sadly not there to get his rematch for the New Texas Pro World Heavyweight title. I say world, but, you know, I don't think it's been defended globally or whatever. It's been represented globally, but not defended globally. So it can't be a true world title. It's a heavyweight title. Brian Keefe was supposed to have his rematch with Stephen Wolf, but it was not to come to pass. He was not able to show up to the show because my man was at the AEW's World's End pay-per-view in the Battle Royal and doing some other things for AEW. So it might be a key indicator that he might be getting a deal, a sign. But I imagine that coming down here to good old Pasadena at the Campbell Center, could be on the back burner in comparison to AEW payday, pay-per-view payday at that. So, I mean, I don't blame the man for calling out. That's what I would do. I mean, I believe that AEW's paycheck might have been a little more than that New Texas Pro, but I don't know what Kiefer is paying them boys down there and girls. So, I'll hold my criticisms, my judgments and things like that. I would never speak ill about New Texas Pro. I love that organization, love the people there, and it is cool. I got to see Walker Stewart, the Velvet Voice, Walker Stewart. I got to do commentary with him at New Texas Pro, and he wind up to go on and get a gig with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So he is back in the States here to do a couple shows before he heads back to Japan. So it's great to run into him again. I might have him on the podcast soon, along with some other peoples from Japan and whatnot, or people who have performed in Japan. But yeah, I mean, that's it. I just wanted to touch bases with y'all here in 2024 and let you know that I'm alive and well and kicking. And March will be upon us soon. I know January 16th is the anniversary of 3R Show proper. But like I said, it can't be a true anniversary until we do Ask Miss B-Rob. So that'll be coming up in March around my birthday, March 29th. And we will properly celebrate the 8-year anniversary of the Random Rounds with Rob podcast. So you can go ahead and start submitting your questions now. The way the Ask Miss B-Rob show goes is you, the listener, submit questions to ask Mrs. B-Rob for her to answer live on the show. It can be anything, her favorite color, just anything. Your life's queries is at her beck and call and whatnot. So whatever you want to ask Miss B-Rob, she will be here to answer that on that exclusive Ask Miss B-Rob, the 8th annual Ask Miss B-Rob. So start submitting your questions. You can hit me up on all social media platforms that I'm a part of. So you can DM me on IG at the 3R Show. You can DM me on Twitter or X or whatever you call it at 3R Show. And then, I guess you can leave a voicemail, 304-825-5762. And you can send an email. Emails can go to randomrobcast. I think what is my email? I don't even hardly use that thing. Let me see. Yeah. randomrobcast@outlook.com. So you can send your email questions there. randomrobcast@outlook.com. And that phone number again for voicemails is 304-825-5762. Haven't shouted out that phone number in a while, but go ahead. It's all at your disposal. Submit them questions. Hit me up whatever way you can hit me up. Send them to me. Text me if you got my personal number. Shit, you can text that phone number that I gave you a little while ago. It receives text messages. But anyway, here for the update. You got it. I appreciate y'all for listening and bearing with me and sticking with me throughout these 8 years of podcasting glory. And I'll see you next time. Come listen to us live Wednesday nights on RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk on twitch.tv/RBR Wrestling. And like I said, patreon.com/RBR Wrestling, $3 a month, get you some good shit. Anyway, I've ran my mouth enough. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.